Hi friends, this is FirearmPop, and today I have another in my series of armed citizen stories. This one once again coming right out of First Freedom magazine. This is the NRA publication, and it's called Armed Citizen Stories. Anyway, let's get right to it this morning. While a 21-year-old store clerk was working his shift at the Balwi Food Market one afternoon, a 31-year-old Urban Anderson entered the store wearing a ski mask and wielding a knife. When Anderson began swinging the knife, the store employee was quick to grab the rifle kept behind the counter for protection. The employee forced Anderson to the ground and kept him there until police arrived. Anderson was then arrested and charged with attempted robbery, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon. The employee suffered cuts to his arms and was treated at a local hospital, and that was in Syracuse, New York. Christopher Ulster, 28, and John Shanks III, 29, broke into the home of a resident said to have been involved in a breakup and alleged domestic dispute with Ulster's sister, police said. While the identities concealed and an apparent intent to assault the tenant, they forced their way into the home. Inside, they were met with a citizen armed with a .22 caliber handgun. Shanks was shot once in the chest. Ulster attempted to drag Shanks out of the home, but fled when he was confronted by the armed resident. Shanks' wound was fatal, and Ulster was later arrested and charged with first-degree burglary. And that happened in Chico, Florida. I'm going to repeat two facts in that little story. The citizen armed with the .22 caliber handgun. And then we're going to move right down to the bottom, and it says Shanks' wound was fatal. Okay, so all you big caliber experts out there saying .22 is not a good self-defense weapon. I guess it works fine if you're in Chico, California. Now, yeah, and you know, don't get me wrong, I carry a .357 Magnum, but for all you ammo Nazis out there that scream that the .22 caliber is not a defensive hand round, tell that to this poor guy who's 6 feet under. Anyway, suspected of committing a string of robberies, Martell Harris, 21, returned to the apartment complex where he allegedly had stolen a vehicle from the parking lot earlier the same day. When he attempted to rob a 54-year-old man at gunpoint, the man produced a firearm of his own and fired several shots. Police were notified when Harris turned up at a local hospital with a gunshot wound. After being treated, he was arrested and charged with robbery, attempted robbery, grand larceny, and the use of a firearm in commission of a felony and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The stolen vehicle was recovered and the robbery victim was not injured. And that was in Newport News, Virginia. Homeowner Andrew Warnaby, 27, became suspicious when he heard a loud banging on his front door at almost 5 a.m. Before answering the door, he took precautions and grabbed his shotgun. He discovered two men in his home when he followed and continued the noise into the garage. Warnaby fired shots at the men, and then at least one of them, the two intruders, returned fire, striking Warnaby in the face. One suspect suffered fatal injuries, while the second suspect was taken to the hospital in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the chest. He was then arrested and charged with aggravated robbery. Warnaby was also taken to the hospital and listed in stable condition, and that was in San Antonio, Texas. A husband and wife were awakened when suddenly attacked by a man with an unlit tiki torch he had found in their backyard. Seemingly, boy, this guy comes prepared. He just grabbed the tiki torch from the backyard. Okay, seemingly under the influence of narcotics and wearing only underwear, socks, and a bandana, that must have been a sight to see, around his neck, the 28-year-old Matthew Zamora had broken into the home through the back door and used the torch to hit the male resident. The husband grabbed the handgun, but the intruder swung the torch again, knocking it from the homeowner's hand. The homeowner's wife retrieved the shotgun and ordered the intruder to leave the home. Without hesitation, Zamora ran into the bathroom, climbed out the window, and fled. He was later arrested and charged with first-degree robbery, first-degree burglary, unlawful use of a weapon, providing false information to the police, menacing, criminal mischief, as well as unrelated felony warrant. And that was in Aloha, Oregon. The owner of a Quick-Time Liquor Mart fought back when Armand Isaac, 21, and Leonard Higgins, Jr., 20, entered the store and attempted the armed robbery. As the store owner and Higgins struggled, Isaac fired a shot at the owner, barely missing his head. The owner then grabbed a pistol and shot Higgins twice, causing the men to quickly flee. Both men were later arrested at the local hospital as they sought medical treatment for Higgins' gunshot wounds. And that was in Alton, Illinois. Oh, a gun in Illinois. A resident awoke to a man banging on the door, demanding entry at 1 a.m. Home alone at the time, the 71-year-old, I'll repeat that, the 71-year-old homeowner refused to open the door and call the police. When the stranger, 23-year-old Shane Blackburn, began to kick down the door, the resident retrieved his handgun. Blackburn was shot twice in the shoulder and fled. He was later located at the local hospital and arrested after being treated for his injuries. And that was in Fremont County, Wyoming. So two interesting stories. One, the 71-year-old man grabbed his handgun, probably saved his life. And the .22 caliber handgun that fatally wounded the intruder. Those are today's stories, and I hope you enjoyed them. This is FirearmPop. Be safe out there, and God bless. Bye now. This is FirearmPop, and I approve of this message.